What's up, metalheads? Hey, Metal Swap Talk here. Brian, Israel, Vince, and we got Jeff Wiederkehr here from Burning Beard. So as many of you know, we are huge fans of metal, but we are, I think, bigger fans of beer. So we're here at Burning Beard Brewing here in El Cajon. Jeff, for a lot of people out there who haven't heard of Burning Beard, can you tell us a little bit about how this project came along?
Well, yeah. So I was going to college, and I was in a bunch of bands in San Diego. As I mentioned earlier, we actually opened up for Psychotic Waltz a bunch back way in the old days when you used to have mailing lists that people would actually sign their names to.
People would write on letters.
You're
wow.
right, exactly. And we'd put postage stamps on things. But yeah, so in this, while I was going to school, I went to school in England for a while and came back and didn't have a band anymore. And I was like, man, I need a hobby. And it turned into this. So we opened the brewery and wrapped it around all the things we love, which is literature, music, beer, having fun. You know, it's really turned out to be a dream come true, and we're able to come full circle with Psychotic Waltz, who I went to elementary school with Norm and grew up with Ward and Devin, Brian, and Dan. It's a trip. It's really crazy.
Jeff, what kind of events do you have here?
Oh man, all sorts of events. Some of our more popular non-beard. Well, we don't do everything all by ourselves. We pair with a couple artists, and we did a winter solstice event. It was an art show. This crazy pagan theme, wild Bama Fett with this pregnant pig in the belly, nuts sort of stuff. We have the Rites of Spring coming up this spring. And our anniversary party is pretty legit. We have a bunch of bands. Doc Hammer is kind of a crossover hardcore band. We'll be headlining that. We have some punk that'll be Authentic Sellout, and Featherstone's actually opening it. Hell is a City's kind of a doom band. They'll be playing it. And so actually this parking lot here, we get this thing permitted out, rent a giant stage and a PA, and just go crazy.
Oh, that's killer. Jeff, obviously when you come in here and you look at the decor, you look at the beer names, there's definitely like a music, rock and roll vibe to this place. Have you ever, or do you have any plans to collaborate with any local musicians?
You know, we really want to, but the nature of the way we brew beer it's not, the production schedule is kind of a trip. And what it is like we're not Budweiser or Coronado or even Modern Times, where these guys are consistently making the same beer all the time. And there was a brief moment where we had a discussion about doing a beer with Megadeth way back, and that it couldn't pan out because those people want constant production. And if you imagine maybe, say, 394 with AleSmith, right, that Tony Gwynn beer, well, that has become a brand unto itself, and they can't not make that beer anymore. You know, we don't want to get tied to that, but we have so many people that'd be fun to work with. Doc Hammer, the people that are headlining our anniversary party this year, we were talking about it, and as long as it's kind of a one-off thing, we can do that. We just, the way we do our production schedule here, it's more about fluidity and being in the moment and sort of taking what comes, and it's not really conducive to long-term partnerships.
Yeah, that makes sense. So kind of what I was getting from your guys' website is your flagship IPA is Dankness Visible. Mm-hmm. And I saw on there you guys can it once in a while.
Yeah. That, and back to that sort of fluidity and the non-committal nature of our brand ethos. We've utilized a mobile canner at times.
Yep.
And it's been really infrequent. We have another canning run scheduled at the end of February for our Pilsner called Normcore, making
which is
normal
incredible.
Hardcore. Oh, right on. Right on.
It's named after Norm Leggio, right?
Of course. Right. Yeah, because Wardcore just sounded weird.
Right.
But yeah, so we're canning that right before our anniversary party, available then. But we don't really have like a canning cadence, and really specifically, we don't really have any flagships. We call them core beers, where they're available most of the time, but not quite all of the time.
Right. I imagine you do that so they have a steady rotation of different things for people to try.
Right. We don't want to be one of those breweries that you come in and you have the same 7 beers on all the time. And the part of the fun of, I think Frank Zappa said this about, to paraphrase, about freestyling when he's guitar solo, and he's like, I don't want to play the same thing every night,
Right.
and that's not fun for me. I don't want to do the same thing every night. And I certainly don't mind doing the same thing sometimes, but I also don't want to do the same thing every night. It's about creativity and fun, and this is making beer. It's an art form, and we're having a blast doing it. But as soon as it becomes cookie cutter stamp, jock rock sort of thing, we jump the shark,
Do you have any plans coming up for this year for the brewery? Things you want to announce, or a new beer or something like that?
Yeah, we bought. If you're an avid OB aficionado, you might know of the Surf Check. It was this crazy divey trailer where you could get the best burger in town. It was right out by Sunset Cliffs, and we bought the trailer. So we're gonna make the greasy OB burger here. And so basically we're going to try to give everyone zero reason to leave. You come here and have a beer, get your burger, have a beer with your burger, and then you can get your dessert beer, we're going to call it Punk Spears. It'll be awesome, man. We're just going to have fries, burgers, keep it really simple. Basically rip the In-N-Out model, keep it really simple, and give El Cajon what they want for once.
One of the things that we noticed when we came in here was the jukebox. You have a very diverse jukebox there. Speaking personally, what sort of music are you listening to these days?
Oh, man. These days, number one in my rotation is Amon Ra. These guys are amazing, crazy, heavy, so much emotion and feeling. It's not just I love the Sword, and I can listen to Warp Riders all day long, but there's just so much energy in Amon Ra. And I love this touch of melancholy in there as well. Listen to Alcest's new album.
Alcest,
yeah, I'm really digging that. Some sort of I always go back to Maiden and Priest. I can't help it.
Can't go wrong with that.
Right. And then for the non-metal options, I've been listening to a little bit of Bjork.
Okay.
And Chet Baker, like Chet Baker's vocal stuff, man. If you're into jazz, but Amon Ra, check it out. You should definitely check out Amon Ra. But I've been frequenting the Psycho Fest, and man, it's so many good bands at Psycho Fest. And this year, Merciful Fate.
They have a killer lineup this year, and it'll be our first time for me going to that.
Oh, you're going. I
think
you there.
we're gonna be checking
going to the
it
beach
out.
party?
I don't know. They have a beach party too.
Yeah. Thursday night. G-strings optional.
Well, not for me.
That's right. That's the correct answer.
Yeah. So being it is the 50th anniversary of Black Sabbath.
Right.
What's your favorite Sabbath album?
Man, my favorite Sabbath album. Man, it might be Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath, or Master Reality. I don't know. It's a tough one. I mean, how can you Paranoids? amazing.
Cool.
But yeah, for Sabbath though, I'm definitely I don't know, definitely in the Aussie camp there. Although I'm a huge Dio fan. Heaven and Hell's amazing. I don't know. There's too many to choose from. How about you, man? If you had to choose.
I would say Heaven and Hell. I'm a big Dio fan, so for me, Heaven and Hell. For sure.
So I got to tell you this moment though, Heaven and Hell. Do you guys remember? It was Ozzy before Ozfest. He got in a car accident. He crashed his Bronco, and he had retired. And he came out of it was like his retirement concert, and Sepultura, Danzig, and Dio was supposed to head Black Sabbath, and they got in a huge fight. And there was like one show up in LA, like San Bernardino area. And Rob Halford stepped in for Dio. And I was at that show, man.
Oh, nice.
And you guys know, like, Rob Halford lives in San Diego on occasion. I ran into him, and it was before I spoke with him before Priest reformed, and he was telling me that Priest was going to reform. And I'm like, well, hey, man, I saw you at the show. And all I said was, like, oh, yeah, that was a magic moment. I just remember Rob Halford singing Children of the Sea, and I was like, blew my mind.
I know San Diego's known for IPAs especially, but you guys have more than just IPAs, which I really appreciate. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, the why, right? The whole thing. It's like the jukebox, the names of the beer, the decor. We don't, like I said about the cookie cutter, man. We don't want to be. It's not about one song, and it's. And that's one of the rad things about, to bring it back to Psychotic Waltz, man. They have a the spectrum of music that they play. It's a very diverse spectrum, and that's what I personally like. I like dynamics, I like highs, and I like lows. And there are some breweries who choose to just do IPAs, but man, there are days where Pilsner's what I'm feeling.
Yeah, it depends on my mood. So.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
You ask me what my favorite album is tomorrow, and it'll be totally different than today. It's mood. Mood has a lot to do with it, and location, man. If I'm on vacation, who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
All right, I think that's all we got for today. But I really appreciate your time, and if you guys haven't been out here to Burning Beard,
When you guys open?
Man, 7 days a week at noon. Come on out.
come out here. This place is awesome. The staff is really nice. I have not had one single beer that wasn't top notch, and I came here a couple times before this.
Oh, rad.
Yeah.
Glad to hear that. Oh, man. I just thought of this.
Yep.
There's this other really wacky band I listen to. It's called Die Antwoord. Have you guys heard of this band? Yeah. It's like rave rap. I don't know.
It's out there.
It's way out there.
They were on the Chappie movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Look up the videos. I don't know. If you're into freaky stuff, and there's no reason you should like this, people. I don't know. It's not metal, but it's definitely like hard edgy stuff, man. I don't know.
Yeah, it's pretty
It's
out
pretty
there.
extreme.
Yeah.
But back to Burning Beard. Definitely come out. And thank
Come
you.
out
I'm glad
here.
you came out.
Yeah, and thanks so much for sitting down with us
Yeah.
and hosting us. I
My
appreciate
pleasure,
it.
man. Thanks for
Yeah.
coming out, guys. Thank
All right.
you.